My 31 female fiancé's 30 male ex 29 female died and my relationship is in shambles. Original post. My fiancé 30 male and I 31 female have been together for nearly 3 years. We were super excited for our wedding that's gonna take place 6 months from now. I had a hard boundary against exes in the relationship, and we both agreed to that. No pictures, no contact, no stories, nothing. Prior to meeting me, he was in a serious relationship for about the same time as us. However, his ex 29 female one day told him she no longer loves him, and they broke up. He was heartbroken, and it took him months to heal. Since his ex was blocked, her mom contacted my fiancé and told him she had cancer and wanted to meet him one last time. This was a difficult decision considering my boundaries, but I felt really sorry this girl was losing her life so young. So, I supported my fiancé's decision to see her, but on the condition that I'll be in the same room as them. Apparently, she had developed skin cancer, and the doctor had drawn up a prognosis for her a few months before they broke up. The ex told both of us that she wanted him to lead a happy life with a woman who could share a life with him, and wished us well. That's why she lied about not loving him anymore, and that she always loved him all this time. She recently died 3 weeks ago, and my fiancé is a mess. I can't unsee the way they both held each other's hands, and a look of nostalgia and love in his eyes for her as I was looking on, feeling like an outsider. It's so difficult and hurtful to see him cry about another woman who he once loved. I literally can't unhear things he said to his mom in the kitchen one day. I wonder what life could have been like with her. We could have been a happy family of our own. She wanted kids with me, and we could have named her Rose like she wanted. Where does this leave me? Why mine his life still if he'd rather be with someone else? I promised myself that I'll only ever be with a guy for whom I am his one and only, and first priority. I saw that in him before, but now I don't know. Trust me, I am not a heartless person, and I would rather not put myself in any position where I'll be considered myself a monster. But this feels incredibly complicated and extremely hurtful to feel like a third wheel in my once happy, thriving relationship. He has been reaching out to me for support, and I lent a listening ear, and he has been telling me so many stories from his time with her, and I didn't like one bit of this. My therapist told me while having empathy is important, I shouldn't have to lose myself in my relationship, even if circumstances are hard. Then 2 days ago, he received a package in the mail, and it was from the ex's sister. Apparently, it was a photo album from their old times that the ex wanted him to have. My fiancé held it so gently and teared up a little, and I literally broke down on the floor crying, having a panic attack. I think I almost unloaded all of what I've been feeling. The third wheel, the unfairness of the whole situation based on what my boundaries around exes had been, my anger at the ex for inserting herself in our lives for no good reason, when both of us were literally so happy with how things were panning out regarding our wedding. Then questioning where his loyalties lied, and I think I did it in one of the most hurtful ways. I told him that we need to pause our wedding plans for now, and wanted a week or two off to think about our relationship. I'm at my sister's place, and haven't been able to sleep or eat properly ever since. It's almost as if I'm falling out of love with my fiancé, and he has been calling and texting me nonstop. I feel so guilty right now. He had self-ending tendencies years ago, and I'm afraid I might trigger that. He says his ex already passed, and it's gonna break him if I left him too. If I left him too? Emphasis on the too. I'm just done. What the heck am I supposed to do? Now for the top advice before reading the update. How did your partner respond after you shared your feelings? He just went silent for a little while and arranged for a glass of water, trying to comfort me. But I didn't want him to touch me because of how violated I felt. That's when I decided to pack a bag and told him we need to be away for a few days to really think about our priorities in this relationship. I could see some shame in his eyes too, as he didn't really try hard to stop me, because it was a losing battle to convince me to stay. Well, this is wildly complicated. On one hand, I think he's in mourning for not only this person, but also the relationship he thought they had. He mourned the relationship of someone who didn't love him, and I don't want to be that person, but he loved her, so her admission shifted things. On the other hand, I can understand your feelings. You're not a replacement for this woman, and shouldn't be made to feel that way. I do think that once he's grieved all of the individual things, assessing things will be easier. But there also should be acknowledgement that like things said in anger, things said in grief also cannot be undone. If there is not anything he can do to truly undo the image you now have, then you need to be honest with yourself about that. I'm truly so sorry for you both. I think you're both experiencing the sense of grief for answers tied to someone no longer around. Please be gentle with yourself, because you don't sound like a monster. You sound like someone trying to support their partner through a trauma that triggers things within you as well. Everyone's feelings here are valid. There's no monstrosity in that. Wonderfully said. I also feel like the ex shouldn't have told him she lied. Ex had to have known what it would cost. Why go all the way to the end and then tell him she lied? I'm sorry, but that was an awful thing to do. I 100% agree with this. She just made him feel like he wasted time he could have had with someone he loved by her pushing him away, which will only break his heart more. It's much easier to get over someone you're angry at. For sure, pause the wedding. He's grieving her. I don't think you should break up with him, but pause the wedding and see how you feel in a month or two. I'm sorry. I disagree. He settled for OP, and now she knows it. There isn't any going back from that. If his feeling were really gone and he was 100% committed to OP, the ex establishing contact with him wouldn't have messed with his head like it did. And he wouldn't be asking, what if? I'm sorry to say it, but better OP found out now than after the marriage, since now she doesn't have to suffer through a divorce. The only way forward is dumping this man, who honestly doesn't sound like he ever got over his other relationship, and rebuild her life, since marriage is hard enough without having a half-hearted partner to lug around as well. Damn dude, have some sympathy. Someone he cared about left him, let him move on. Called him back to tell him she never stopped loving him, died, then his current girlfriend is having some issues and want to leave him. And you're painting him the villain? Maybe they will break up, maybe they won't. Maybe they need to, maybe they don't. Give the guy some props. He did everything he was supposed to, and through no fault of his own is getting butt kicked in by life. Now for the update. To those some of you who had the most vile things to say to me, maybe because you have the baggage of a widower or plain no relationship experience, or can't understand that human emotions are complex because your lack of awareness is showing. After the initial shock of those judgmental comments wore off, I decided it was better to completely disregard any judgment that questioned my boundaries and how I handled my feelings. There simply cannot be three people in this relationship, and I refuse to believe otherwise. Many of you thought they could do better by teaching me about marriage vows, but all of you are forgetting that marriage vows also mean forsaking all others in mind, body and spirit. She might be not physically present, but he would be in a different headspace emotionally. A part of him permanently will belong to her memories. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but it's just not for me. Some of you have different standards of partnership, and that is okay. What is not okay is shaming those that have them and pretending you are better than me and would not have felt hurt if you were in my shoes. I guess on Reddit, if you can't accept downright emotionally cruel behavior from your grieving partner, you are insecure. Guess what? I'd rather be insecure than accept that my partner's heart longs for someone else. There were also some Redditors that were truly a piece of work because they assumed that my therapist was stroking my ego. Why do you assume that your opinion matters more than that of a literal professional? Laughing out loud. And no, it was she who advised me to be flexible about my boundaries when I supported my ex to see his ex. But even she didn't anticipate how bad it got with the whole love confession. Everyone says that I am jealous of a corpse for competing with a dead person. I think you're ignoring the elephant in the room. Like, these phrases don't even make sense to me. How is it even possible to be jealous of the dead? The elephant in the room is my fiancé's emotional and relational fidelity, a full 100% commitment to me and only me, which isn't possible if you are dating a freshly grieving widower or someone who is actively longing for another person that isn't their current partner. Plus, all of those people who are questioning my boundaries have no idea what they are talking about, and rather embody the pick-me and bothered non-jealous girl trope on Reddit. And maybe I made a mistake in staying in that room, but I guess also not. Because my fiancé said if I wasn't there, he wouldn't have told me anyway, because of how complicated it would have gotten. I guess it was the right call after all, no matter how many people like to disagree. And the fact that I knew what was going on in his heart, enabling me to leave, confirms why I need those boundaries. Had I been firm about him not going to see her, I wouldn't have been left feeling like a divorcee. I don't have the energy to elaborate on how many fond stories I have listened to since her passing, but one thing stands. The fact that he moved on from the initial breakup only because she decided to end things makes me feel like he's only settling for me. And the only reason I am with him today is because of how he couldn't build a life with her. And that's a terrible foundation for a relationship where both partners should feel like the first choice. Him relieving what his future could have looked like has damaged any trust I've had in him beyond repair. I can't unhear the things he has said, and I don't think I'll ever recover from the damage it has inflicted on both of us. Stepping outside of my situation has allowed me to see things differently, and I recognize this wasn't his fault. He was just experiencing grief all over again, but it also wasn't fair to me. It's frankly not the kind of relationship I wanted, which came with such a profound baggage. And you may ask why. Maybe because I do realize that I don't have to set myself on fire to keep others warm and act as if everything is fine. A lot of comments have pointed out how poorly the ex also handled the confession, which shouldn't even have taken place at all. I forgive her because I think she unfairly paid for the loss of my relationship with her life, and she didn't deserve that. I think her last-minute theatrics didn't end well for my relationship because life isn't a movie, and there are real feelings involved. So, yes, I broke up with my fiancé, and it was not pretty. After calling me the 100th time, I finally agreed to speak with him as I had the time to think about things. Objectively, I had been feeling pretty inadequate, second fiddle, and an emotional dump pretty much, and it has wrecked with my sense of self. I went to our home and gave him the ring he proposed me with. I told him I don't see him in my future anymore, as seeing him grieve a future life with an ex made me lose all feelings for him. I just feel numb. He started hysterically crying and begged me to stay, because now I was breaking up with him the same way his ex once did. This made me cry even harder, as he still couldn't see beyond his grief. He asked me and screamed, why am I doing this? He said a lot of cruel things to me, which are honestly painful, but things really escalated here. He said he isn't letting me go and wants us to fix things. That's when I knew I wasn't safe where I was standing, and I had to call my sister and his mother at his place to help ease him, so that I could leave the house as quickly as possible. As his mom and my sister looked on, here was an exchange. Him, I doubt you ever had a heart. Me, what do you know about my heart when you know nothing other than your own suffering? X, someday, I hope you'll have the decency to admit how much you regret hurting me, just like she did. And maybe, just maybe, life will serve you a different kind of cancer in the next 3 years to teach you a lesson. We all looked in shock and horror, and his mother gave him a well-deserved slap across his face. To say that he instantly regretted that would be an understatement. He cried like a dam broke through. I had to give him his meds one last time. My sister muttered, I hope you are ashamed of yourself, and grabbed my arm and took me out of the house. I might just look for a welfare checkup for him as soon as I've gained some sanity and sense of normalcy. I care about him still as a person and certainly don't want to demonize him anymore, but this is not the man I fell in love with. I guess I have to stay single for a while and find someone actually worthy of my time. When I love with my full heart, and I want someone who can appreciate that. Wishing everyone, even the naysayers, peace and love. I'm going to be logging off Reddit to take care of my mental health now. I'm sorry, I won't be here to engage anymore. Again, wishing love and peace to all who cared. Last story. I'm calling off my engagement due to my fiancé's financial situation. I'm male 30 and I've been with my 38-year-old fiancé for 4 years. We got engaged a year ago and started living together. Things were great until we gave joint bank accounts a shot. We don't make a ton of money, 90K combined in a moderately expensive city. I always grew up dirt poor, and money has always been a huge source of anxiety for me, while she grew up middle class. She is terrible with money and doesn't care when I tell her it's stressing me out. I hate always having to be the bad guy when it comes to spending money. We would literally be out in the streets in a few months if I didn't constantly intervene in her spending. This weekend, she finally disclosed a lot of debt I didn't even know about. 69K in private student loans, a couple grand in collections, and some credit card stuff. I had to spend a lot of time thinking about it, but I called off the wedding for a couple of glaring issues. 1. She ignores me when I tell her to cut down on spending, even when she knows I'm losing sleep over it. 2. How the heck are we ever supposed to have a stable life and kids someday if we have $10 in our account come payday? 3. I didn't want to get stuck with all of that debt and resent the heck out of her, which I probably would. 4. She's almost 40. What are the odds that she will ever grow up, if she hasn't by now? Now for the top advice. Disagreements over money are one of the main predictors of divorce. You definitely need to both be on the same page before you get married. As I said on another thread, financial compatibility is just as important as romantic or sexual compatibility. They did a study on this. The best indicator for compatibility in a relationship is their credit score. If the two people in a partnership have a similar credit score, they're more likely to work out. Why? Likely similar spending habits. Smart decision. Imagine the extra debt of the wedding she would want. Smart decision, but took him long enough, because I literally could see the glaring red flags from miles ahead. Doesn't care when I tell her it's stressing me out? Was far enough reason to dip already. Money is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, reasons couples fight. If she's not responsible with money by her age, you will not be able to change her. The result would be constant fighting about money or poverty. How does she still have that much in private school loans at 38? Bullet dodged. You sound responsible and still young. Good luck. Yep, my ex is 38 years old and acted like this. I was like, if he hasn't grown up by now, he's never going to. I dipped last week. Most likely facing divorce myself. I'm the breadwinner, and my husband is stupid with money among other things. He'll be 33 in a few weeks. I keep thinking, this can't be normal, right? He's almost 33. He's a grown adult. He should know better, or at least make attempts to do and be better about / with money. Educate himself. And if he wouldn't do it now, will he ever? Thank you for giving me some extra perspective as I've faced an uphill battle in this process. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my dream wedding dress, though it means my fiancé's family will not attend? Original story. I'm in a lot of turmoil right now and it feels like everything is falling apart. I have never had a great relationship with my future mother-in-law. It isn't terrible, but I can sense that she doesn't like me. My fiancé is very close to his family, so there has been some tension. I didn't invite mother-in-law wedding dress shopping because our relationship is awkward, but I thought I'd show her a picture to make her feel included. My dress is a beautiful flowy beachy dress, but not technically a wedding dress, and could be ordered in color. I bought it from a small local boutique that we both love. Mother-in-law said that I can't wear the dress because she bought the same one for her 50th birthday, which is 2 weeks after my wedding. Mother-in-law does have the dress though in a mint green color. There is enough detailing that it is clearly the same dress, and she has the receipt to prove she got it first. Lavish birthday parties are a thing in our circle, so I know she has invested serious time and money in this party. I said that I'm still going to wear the dress, despite the fact I could easily return it with no loss, because I didn't do this out of malice, and I love it. Mother-in-law said if she wears it 2 weeks after I do, everyone is going to think she's pathetic and copying her son's wife. I said sorry, but not really my problem. Everyone has gone crazy since I said that. His entire side of the family, the friends mother-in-law invited, have all backed out of the wedding. So like 15 people and it will be noticeable. His sisters were supposed to be in the wedding party on his side, but dropped out and have blocked him on everything. His stepdad won't talk to him and says he regrets raising him, that he isn't a real man because a real man would stand up for his mom. His bi-dad is even in mother-in-law's side, which doesn't surprise me because they're good friends, but he called us up to shame us the other night. My fiancé is hurting and found out his family had a big beach day and invited everyone but him. He called mother-in-law, they talked, but didn't come to a resolution. She said that if I refuse to do the right thing, the only answer is no one going to her party can go to the wedding. He tried calling sister-in-law and found out she blocked him. He is mad at me now and feels like she had it first. Added for some info, mother-in-law's never acted like this before. Truly, ever. She's extremely laid back. Doesn't show emotion, not really attention-seeking, which is why my fiancé is so confused. At this point, I think the relationship with the sisters and stepdad is beyond repair for now, and I'm scared to have them at the wedding. To all the people saying I should wear it to her birthday, laughing my butt off, but I'm bound, and her ex has already promised to act as bouncer, not that I'd ever crash it. Now for the top comments before reading the update. You can wear whatever you want, but at some point you might need to think if this dress is more important than your wedding, because it seems like that might not happen at this point. Edit. Everyone acts like this is just normal behavior for mother-in-law and it's a slippery slope. That if you don't wear the same dress as her, you will always be under their control. While Opie has repeatedly stated that there have been no issues. This seems all to be about this exact situation. If mother-in-law had written the post, would people be, if she wears the dress, she will always start wearing the same clothes as you own? Of course not, because that's ridiculous. Things can happen. That doesn't mean that they will continue to happen under different circumstances. Some people writing comments here are more dramatic than mother-in-law and her family. I agree with us, but mother-in-law and her family are ridiculously overreacting. That goes without saying, but my guess is that Opie's significant other isn't willing to cut out his family because of a dress. Everyone sucks here. All of you sound difficult. Except possibly your significant other who is caught between a bunch of self-righteous entitled people who don't care about the damage they do. The mother-in-law's difficult, but so is Opie. You could have been the bigger person and get another dress. You said it yourself. You can still return it and no big loss. Seems like Opie chose to make it more difficult and is a bit of a bridezilla. You should help your fiancé out and not wear the dress. Get a different one because you are ruining his relationship with his family. And yes, they're being a-holy, but he loves them and you're driving the wedge. I can't see a good marriage from a start like this, especially since he's mad at you now. Final edit. My dress is going back and I apologize to her because I can't understand it, but something deeply hurt her. Mother-in-law and my fiancé are talking for the first time in over a month. She seems exhausted and sad, but maybe there is hope. I really don't think stepfather-in-law or sister-in-laws will ever get over this, but we will see. And now for the update. So I posted here a few months ago about my mother-in-law wanting to wear the same dress to her 50th as I bought for my wedding. She did have the dress first and receipts to prove it. I got a lot of mixed feedback and ultimately decided to return the dress, as it clearly triggered something massive for her. We got married a month ago, and mother-in-law did agree to come after originally refusing. Stepfather-in-law, the man who raised my husband, would not be swayed, and sister-in-laws have him blocked and everything and did not want to hear it. I kind of wondered if she was going to pull something crazy, which isn't really her style, but this whole thing has been crazy. She was very quiet and just hang out with her ex. Mother-in-law and my husband have talked a little and she just isn't in a mind frame for a relationship right now. She's extremely hurt and I don't get it, but she obviously needs her space. She barely spoke during the wedding. I actually reached out to stepfather-in-law, which probably wasn't my place, but he said we didn't see her sobbing in his arms. We can't get what we did to her. I know I got a lot of pushback on my decision to return the dress and people saying it's just a birthday, but it really isn't. Yeah, she might get one every year, but a massive party for her 51st just seems a little odd. I remember my mom's 50th and how much she put into that. It was like a wedding. Mother-in-law invited us to her party after uninviting us and her ex pledging to play security. Ultimately, we decided not to go because of how angry stepfather-in-law and both sister-in-laws are, and stepfather-in-law admitted he was uncomfortable at the thought of seeing us. It was too much for my husband to see his whole family there. She had her party over the weekend, and yes, I social media snooped a bit. It looked great. She looked really happy and I'm at peace that I didn't get my dream dress. As for us, my husband is going to therapy to heal from the grief. He has realized he needs to respect his sisters and they're serious. The younger one broke down sobbing and said I did the right thing, but he didn't do anything. And she can't forgive him for just letting their mom get hurt. I still don't totally get it, but it's okay. Mother-in-law doesn't express feeling, so for some reason this was her hill to die on. She doesn't seem too interested in a relationship, so they'll have the occasion text, I guess, and everything's over. I'm happy she has a good party, and I'm looking forward to my husband healing and the rest of our lives. There's seriously something missing here. I really wish we could get the other side of the story. This is such an extreme reaction for someone you say is normally not dramatic. I'm absolutely positive something has been left out. Could be something you are not saying? Is not my problem the rudest thing you said? Because I doubt. Or something you don't even know. Maybe there is some sort of trauma here that you're not aware of that is triggered. We always get a biased, one-sided account, but this is on levels I am not used to. Again, I am not accusing you. It's very possible it is something you don't even understand, but something is seriously off here. Nice update, OP. But if anything, this makes me even more confused as to what the hell even happened on that side of the family. It sounds like you did something horrific, like offed her pet or caused her to miscarry or something traumatic as all hell, not threatened to take her dress. Almost makes me wonder if she's terminally ill and you don't know. And this party was supposed to be a huge hurrah because you wouldn't see another one, or something weird. I think it triggered her PTSD. I really hope this was a wake-up call because there is a lot brewed there. That's not really enough. It may have triggered her PTSD, but her sisters and husband all reacted the same way. Something is missing here. She never asks for anything. Her husband and daughters just snapped, I guess, because this was the first thing which really seemed meaningful to her. She is really chill in general, and all three of her kids think she was the best mom, even if my husband kind of hates her at the moment. They knew the backstory and the PTSD, and they were the ones who saw her sobbing when she never shows any weakness. They all think I tried to ruin her huge once-in-a-lifetime milestone. I wish they were open to talking about it, and could explain it better. None of them were fans of me to begin with, so I guess it was easy to make me the villain. In your original post, some of your comments shed light as to why your mother-in-law and family are reacting this way. You said mother-in-law has been bullied and called a cheap woman and a liar and pathetic her whole life for things totally not her fault. You also mentioned your mother-in-law was worried that if she wore the same dress to her big party 2 weeks later, everyone is going to think she's pathetic and copying her son's wife. And your response was, sorry, but not really my problem. Were you aware of her severe emotional trauma before saying it wasn't your problem? If so, your original response was callous, and honestly her family is doing the right thing by protecting her. You said they snapped, but if someone in my family was triggered in this manner, then I would absolutely do everything in my power to support them. From your other comments in the original post, it sounds like you understood this as well, but you still seem to be making subtle comments that imply you still don't understand why they are reacting this way. It's not about the dress, it was the potential of your mother-in-law reliving past traumas that she and her family were worried about. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for losing weight before my sister's wedding? I, 28 female, used to be quite overweight. Over the last year or so, I have made many changes in my life and have successfully lost almost 100 pounds. I don't live close to any of my family and don't post on social media, so my family wasn't really aware of my weight loss. I did mention that I was making healthier choices, but that's it. It's just that every time before that I've tried to lose weight, it hasn't worked out, so I don't want anyone commenting on it. My sister, 26 female, got engaged last year, and I'm super happy for her. Due to circumstances, the wedding had to be pushed back a little. It's happening a week from now, and because I haven't seen everyone in so long, I decided to come down 2 weeks earlier to help out and catch up. Well, when I came to see my family, my sister freaked out upon seeing me. As it turns out, she has gained a bit of weight. Not super noticeable to me as she still looks great. But I think this is the first time in our lives that I'm smaller than her, as I've always been the fat sister. She basically accused me of trying to upstage her, and my parents are fully taking her side. I'm really not sure if I'm in the wrong here, as so many of my family are taking her side of things. Am I the a-hole for losing weight before my sister's wedding? Now for the top comments. Wow, OP. You spent a whole year of your life losing weight and make sacrifices just to upstage your sister? How dedicated and petty of you. How delusional is your family? Not the a-hole. Instead of being happy that her sister is making healthy changes, she made it about herself. Totally self-centered. Right? I mean, I could kind of understand knee-jerk reaction if you made a grand entrance on the day itself, but we're talking a full 2 weeks earlier in a completely different venue. Your sister is mad at herself for getting fatter and taking it out on you. I had a friend show up to a gathering some years ago. He was always overweight, while I was always very physically fit. He showed up absolutely muscle-bound and cut, while I had gained weight due to poor life choices. I was extremely happy for him. I don't understand being awful to people you are supposed to care about because they have improved themselves. Wow, how dare you lose an amazing 100 pounds to decide to make healthier lifestyle choices? How dare you care for your health and make your insecure sister even more insecure due to her own problems with vanity? What a monster. All ridiculousness aside, not the a-hole. With all due respect, Your sister needs to get her head out of her back end before she starts choking on the crap that she's so full of. I'm sorry you have to go through this, Opie. I suggest you simply say, I'm sorry my current appearance has ruined your wedding. I'll head back home now. Send photos. Then get on with your life. Sometimes, I've seen it happen, families get so entrenched in obesity and unhealthy habits that they're actually offended by friends or family members who choose a different path. Truth is, they're jealous as can be, but may not even realize that themselves. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for agreeing to be a groomsman for my brother-in-law's wedding, even though my wife doesn't approve of the marriage and is boycotting the wedding? So I, 37 male, have been married to my wife, 36 female, for just over a decade. We have 3 kids together, 1 daughter and 2 sons. She has a younger brother who's 31. Just weeks after I started dating his sister, he and I hit it off and became fast friends. Hunting, fishing, off-roading, etc. I think of him as my little brother. Anyway, when he was still in his early 20s, he ended up getting a girl pregnant. After getting pressured by both my in-laws as well as her family, he ended up marrying her. But it was a mistake. He never loved her. He was never all that into her. They just got together one night out of boredom and ended up producing a child. But as far as both families were concerned, that was it. They needed to get married and start and maintain a family. His ex was actually fine with it, but he wasn't. I think she loved him, but he never loved her. He loved the son that they had together, but not her. But my wife absolutely loved her and thought that she was the best thing that ever happened to her younger brother. Anyway, he ended up having an affair with his now fiancé. It was wrong, obviously, but he was just so unhappy. And according to what he told me, he felt so trapped. Eventually, once the affair was found out, it led to the end of his marriage. Fast forward a couple of years, and now he's getting married to the other woman. They've asked my wife and me to be a bridesmaid and groomsman. My wife has categorically refused. She says that she refuses to endorse their relationship that started out under bad circumstances, and refuses to send the message to her nephew that she thinks it's okay that his father cheated on his mom. My wife wants me to also boycott the wedding, but I won't. I've told my brother-in-law and good friend that I will absolutely be in his wedding, whether my wife is there or not. I know that what he did to his ex was wrong, but they never should have been married in the first place. But he's my friend and I want him to be happy. And I know he is with his current fiancé. Am I the a-hole? No a-holes here. I can't understand your wife's stance on this. You say he's my friend and I want him to be happy, and she feels the same way about her ex-sister-in-law and her nephew, whom your brother-in-law made very sad. I can understand your stance too, and it's probably the one I'd take. Bygones and all that. But I think you need to ask yourself whether you're prepared for the permanent breach it may cause with your wife. If there is a way to handle this more sensitively, pursue it. You owe your wife understanding as well as your brother-in-law. No a-holes here bordering not the a-hole. She sounds a bit controlling here. Her choice to boycott, but she isn't doing a good job respecting Opie's autonomy to make his own choice, reducing him to an instrument to express her displeasure at brother-in-law. It is her brother. Usually you want to let the half of the couple whose family it is take the lead in how to deal with their own relatives. I don't see this as all that controlling. You're the a-hole. These comments are bizarre. Full of sympathy for a man who cheated on his wife for ages because he was a coward and a liar, based only on Opie's version of events. No sympathy for his wife and child. Nobody clocking the fact that if his wife isn't defending her own brother, it's probably because he has caused such substantial amounts of pain to other people that she can't justify it. You have sent a very clear message to your wife, that you will help, support, and defend a cheater as long as the reason for cheating is good enough. And in this case, that amazing reason for cheating was, brother-in-law wasn't happy enough, and rather being straightforward and honest and breaking up, he chose to hurt 2 innocent people instead. Can you even imagine the conclusion she is drawing about your marriage right now? That if you decided to cheat, then you would, and brother-in-law would hide it from her in support of his brother. Loving your gross speculation, by the way, about how ex-wife was fine with a pressured marriage because you think she loved him. You clearly never knew or cared about her, so why are you trying to insist on her state of mind? Update. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my fiancé's ex to our wedding? Original post. I, female 26, have been with Henry, male 36, almost 37, for 5 years. We are engaged and currently planning our wedding. A little background. Henry is the youngest child and his mother really wanted a girl. Because of this, Henry grew up feeling despised by his mom, who openly says hurtful things. like how he was a disappointment from the start or how she never got the daughter she wanted. Despite this, instead of going no contact with her, Henry has been trying very hard to win her love. Henry had a long-term ex, female 32, who is very close with his mother. She became the daughter his mother always wanted. However, his ex cheated on him with a coworker and left him. After 2 years, Henry and I met. Eventually, the ex wanted to get back together with him, but he said no and blocked her. Despite this, she and his mother remain best friends. His mother still invites her to family functions, and my fiancé and I just ignore her. His mother doesn't like me and believes I'm the reason she can't have her preferred daughter-in-law. My fiancé has explained many times that he would rather stay single forever than get back with his ex. So, even if I didn't exist, he wouldn't be with her. Yesterday, my mother-in-law asked how many guests she could invite to our wedding. I told her that since my parents could invite 8 to 10 people, she could do the same. She thanked me, but an hour later, she smiled and said, "Well, we have one yes already," referring to my fiancé's ex. I told her that was very inappropriate, since we aren't friends with her. She responded by saying that it's her guest list and none of my business. Then she said I'm insecure because the ex is the whole package and that I'm just a rebound girl. Henry told his mom to stop and ask her to leave. Once she left, he asked if I could be the bigger person and let her have this, as he really wants his mom to be at the wedding. He suggested that if inviting his ex would keep his mom quiet, we should just ignore her. Am I the a-hole for not wanting her there? P.S. We are mostly paying for the wedding ourselves, with some help from my dad. Mother-in-law hasn't contributed. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. I mean, you could go a couple of ways with this. 1. Disinvite mother-in-law and her entire guest list. 2. Ask fiancé to get a spine because no way are you having his cheating ex at your wedding. 3. Let ex come to the wedding but thank her during her speech for cheating on your now husband, because without her being a cheating whore, you would have never met your husband. I would choose 3, but I'm a petty a-hole. Not a-hole. There's 0 chances of him doing 1 or 2, so I either have to cancel the wedding or choose option 3. Not a-hole. Your fiancé is a big a-hole. If you marry him, this will be your future, unless he grows a set. You will be third after his mom and the ex. Is this how you want to live? I suggested therapy regarding his relationship with his mother. He thinks we just have to accept her the way she is. Oh dear girl, please don't marry him. What happens when y'all have kids if that's the plan? She likely won't like them, and if they are boys, she will treat them just as horrible as her own son. Are you going to allow it? Seriously, don't get married. Or at least pause the wedding until you both are on the same page about handling his mom. I just texted him that we need to have a talk when you get home. I'm going to cancel the wedding at this point. I'll post an update after my talk with him tonight. Now for the first update. Thank you so much for the comments and DMs. I had a calm talk with Henry and explained how I feel disrespected by his mom's words and actions. While I can't control who she associates with, it is very disrespectful that she invites her ex to all the gatherings, and that the two of them constantly pick on me. Henry acknowledged this, but said that's just how his mom is. I told him that it's best we cancel the wedding at this point because I want our wedding day to be a happy, memorable occasion, not one filled with drama and stress. I added that his mom is going to ruin this day, and that he's just going to accept it as usual, which I can't tolerate. I told him I won't marry him until he sets some boundaries with his mother. This situation is ridiculous. Henry went on about how he can't cut his mom out of his life because she sacrificed so much raising him and his brother as a single mom. But he admitted he doesn't know how to handle her either. I told him I can't make that decision for him, but I'm going no contact with his mom. I suggested that maybe therapy could help him realize how abusive and toxic his relationship with his family is and help him decide what to do with his life. I also said I won't attend any more gatherings. He went quiet for a while. Then he called his mom on speakerphone to tell her that the wedding was cancelled. She went on, saying he finally did the right thing by dumping that whiny witch, calling me insecure and controlling and saying it was a miserable relationship. Henry kept interrupting her, saying, "Mom, stop." But she didn't care. In the end, he told her, "Mom, we are not breaking up. She's here and heard everything." She canceled it, not me, because you kept disrespecting her. His mom screamed, "That manipulative little witch set me up," and started ranting again. Henry then told her that he needs some time to think, and it's best if she gives him some space, then hung up. He's spending today helping his brother with some renovations and I'm home alone. Hopefully, my next update will be less depressing. Wow, sounds like things got intense between you and Henry's mom. I'm glad you stood up for yourself and that Henry supported your decision to cancel the wedding. Remember, prioritizing your own happiness and well-being should always be a top priority in any relationship, even if it means taking a hard stance. It's clear that Henry still loves his mom deeply, but it's important for him to learn to set healthy boundaries and work through his feelings, without resorting to verbal abuse towards you. Keep us updated on how things unfold. Take care and stay strong. He needs to figure it out. He needs to grow a spine. Holy crap. If that outburst couldn't solidify how awful his mother really is, nothing ever will. I will never understand why some sons think they need to pay their single mothers back for their sacrifices and personal happiness. Raising our children is why we have children. When we do it right, it's not a sacrifice. It's a privilege and a pleasure. Some single mothers raise their children as an extension of themselves, or become emotionally incestuous towards their sons. As a result of this toxic relationship, the child grows up reliant on the mother and feel like they can't escape. It's the same case with how many people go back to their abusive partner. Over time, it becomes the only thing they know, and their brain becomes addicted to it sadly. I'm glad you stood your ground. This is no way to be in a marriage. You're already miserable, so just imagine how much worse things would have gotten if you proceeded with a wedding. Anyway, I truly do hope Henry seeks therapy. It's clear that he has a lot to unpack, and you are not the person to do that for him. I commend you for recognizing that and expressing it to him. I wish you both the best. I don't want to make him to go no contact with her. If I make the decision for him, he will resent me. Hopefully he comes up with a solution or we have to go separate ways. Sigh. The minute his mother spoke like that about the woman he loves and he didn't say, "F off, Mom, we're done here, and I've had it with you. Until you can behave differently towards my future wife, you and I are done." But he didn't. He doesn't need time to think. He needs time to man up. I don't think he's going to part ways with his mom for you, or any woman, ever. You are talking about a man who never raises his voice or swears. Lol. When he gets really upset, he just stays quiet. I'm the firecracker in our relationship, and joke that his mom broke him because he was not allowed to show frustrations or anger, or any emotions. He usually stays quiet, then eventually starts talking. I'm waiting to see what he has to say eventually. Now for the second update. It's 6 a.m. and I've been crying all night. He broke up with me. He ignored all my texts yesterday, and it was late when I finally texted his brother to ask if he was okay. His brother said, yeah, he left 2 hours ago to give his ex a ride, and then come home. I asked, his ex was there? But he didn't reply. When he finally came home, he told me to sit down because we needed to talk. He said, I've thought about our situation and I think we should end it. He said, today I hung out with my family, and even his mom and ex came over. They all told me that by me going no contact with his mom, it was going to be so awkward and that they'd be stuck in the middle. He said, when you weren't there today, I enjoyed my time with my family. There was no tension and I didn't have to worry about you being upset. I asked him, why did it take you 2 hours to drop off your ex? Did you sleep with her? He told me I was being ridiculous and that he was just talking to her. He accused me of being controlling and insecure and said I'm isolating him from his friends and family. I asked him again, so nothing happened? He danced around it, but eventually admitted we fooled around, but that's it. I told him I couldn't believe what a pathetic, weak man he is, letting his mom convince him to ruin everything, and next is getting a beat from his cheating ex. We ended up arguing and he went to sleep. I cried all night. Today I'm going to call my dad and ask if I can stay with him. When his cheating ex cheats on him again, he will get karma. You are on the winning end. You cut loose a cheating a-hole and his crappy family. Now it's time to find yourself a real partner. He will be stuck in the toxicity of his family and his ex. He will probably get back together with his ex, and she will inevitably cheat on him again. His mommy will continue to try and push them back together because she'd rather control her son and see him miserable than be accepting of any other partner. I know it hurts now, but in the long run, you will feel a sense of relief in not having to deal with his mom and his ex. Take time to heal from the trauma he and his family causes and go find your happiness. If he can do what he did today and just go to sleep like nothing happened, completely unfazed by the pain he's caused, then he's a cheating POS and not worth your time. You deserve so much better. I hate him so much. He had the audacity to make me the problem and calling me controlling, insecure, while he was out there fooling around with his mom's mini-me. I'm going to move soon anyways for my grad school. I never want to listen to his BS ever again. To be honest, he did you a favor. I know being cheated on sucks, but it gives you something to hate him for and move on from him. You don't need this crap. You have a great opportunity to start fresh for grad school, and you're still very young. So get through the hurt now and literally move on, because he isn't worth any of your brain power thinking about. OP, please go get tested. I definitely will do that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling my fiancé's credit cards and throwing him out after discovering he was cheating on me with my best friend? I, 32 female, have been with my fiancé Jake, 34 male, for 5 years. We got engaged last year and I've been covering most of our expenses since I earn a lot more. I even added Jake to my credit cards to help him out. My best friend Emily, 31 female, and I have been close since college, and she's been like a sister to me. Jake and Emily got along well, and the three of us hung out often. But a few weeks ago, I noticed Jake acting weird. Being secretive with his phone, taking calls in another room, and constantly texting. I couldn't shake the feeling something was off. One night, while Jake was asleep, I checked his phone. What I found shattered me. Explicit messages between him and Emily, plans to meet behind my back, and even talks about a future together. I felt utterly betrayed by the two people I trusted most. The next day, while Jake was at work, I canceled all his credit cards, removed him from our joint account, packed up his stuff, changed the locks, and left a note telling him never to contact me again. When he found out, he blew up, accusing me of being cruel and vindictive. Emily hasn't said a word, but I've cut off all contact with her too. Now, I'm starting to wonder if I overreacted by going nuclear. So, am I the a-hole for cutting Jake off financially, kicking him out, and cutting off my best friend after finding out they were cheating on me? Now for the comments. You're definitely not the a-hole. Jake and Emily betrayed you in the worst way. Cutting him off financially, kicking him out, and ending the relationship were completely justified. You acted to protect yourself after their massive betrayal, and your response was appropriate given the circumstances. He is just upset because you will not be paying or helping him with anything. He wanted his cake and wanted to eat it too. It is very obvious because your best friend said nothing to you. Good luck. Sounds like you wanted OP's cake and to eat Emily's too. You did not overreact. They're vile and disgraceful. They would have gone no contact with you once he was in a position to leave you, probably after he squirreled away enough of your money to do so. She's not a friend. Honestly, the saying with friends like these who needs enemies is fitting. I suggest seeing a therapist because for you to question your actions tells me you need to build your self-respect and self-worth. Please don't look back and move on and up. Not the a-hole. Thank you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother's fiancé the truth about why our family doesn't like her? So I, 28 female, have a younger brother, Mike, 26 male, who got engaged to his girlfriend, Rachel, 25 female, about 6 months ago. From the outside, Rachel seems like a nice enough person. She's polite, friendly, and gets along with most people. But here's the thing, our entire family cannot stand her, and it's not for the reasons you'd think. It all started when she met our family for the first time. My parents have a pretty quirky sense of humor and we all tease each other a lot. It's all in good fun. But Rachel took everything super seriously. She'd get offended at harmless jokes and would sulk whenever someone teased her, even in the slightest way. We thought maybe she just needed time to get used to us, but it only got worse. At every family gathering, she'd find a way to make everything about her. If someone talked about their job, she'd jump in with a story about how hard her work is. If we were sharing funny childhood stories, she'd cut in to talk about how tough her childhood was, even though we were just joking around. She even tried to change our traditional holiday plans because they didn't fit her vibe. The final straw came when she tried to improve my mom's cooking by adding her own spices to a dish at Thanksgiving. My mom's a great cook, and this did not go over well. Rachel acted like she was doing us a favor, but it was really just insulting. After months of this, Mike finally asked me why our family was being distant with Rachel. I was honest and told him that while we all try to like her, she's been stepping on everyone's toes since day one. I mentioned how she doesn't seem to respect our family's dynamic and how her behavior at family gatherings has been pretty off-putting. Well, Mike told Rachel everything I said, and she lost it. She called me crying, saying I've ruined her relationship with our family and that she doesn't feel welcome anymore. My brother is now furious with me, saying I should have just kept my mouth shut. My parents are staying out of it, but they don't disagree with what I said. Now, Rachel is demanding an apology, but I'm torn. I was just trying to be honest with my brother, but now I feel like I've caused a huge rift. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother the truth about why our family doesn't like his fiancé? Am I the a-hole? Nope, you're not the a-hole. You were honest with your brother when he directly asked why the family was being distant with Rachel. It's not like you went out of your way to bash her. You simply explained why her behavior has rubbed everyone the wrong way. Rachel's constant need to make everything about her, her sensitivity to harmless teasing, and that whole Thanksgiving cooking fiasco were legitimate reasons for the family's frustration. If she's upset, it's because she didn't want to hear the truth, not because you did something wrong. Your brother might be mad now, but he asked for honesty, and you gave it to him. So, not the a-hole. You were just trying to clear the air. I mean, the teasing can be hard to interpret what's friendly/normal level of a family's teasing when you are the outsider. So that, I would have advised not making her a target for the first while, but allow her to be exposed to the normal levels and see how she responded when she wasn't the target. You know, to gauge her tolerances. But everything else, she's kinda out of line. We didn't send the new family members into the murder basement for the first 6 months. He asked why you and your family didn't like her and then went and told her. That's on him. However, your reasons for not liking her are weak at best. Not everyone jokes around like you all clearly do, and in my opinion, the worst thing she did was change your mom's cooking. That would piss me off too. She sounds more like she was trying to fit in with telling stories like you all were. This is your brother's girlfriend. And the fact you all seem to have a problem with her is just going to push him away. You really want that? Who cares? Her brother sounds stupid. Update. Would I be the a-hole for straight up leaving and ghosting my fiancé after I found out she cheated? Original post. I, 28 male, have found out that my fiancé, 30 female of 2 years, cheated on me. We have been together for 6 years and in love with each other. At least that's how it was for me. She has been acting more distant and became more protective of her phone for the last 2 months. At first, I was not suspicious of anything, but the doubt grew more and more inside me as the time passed, especially after asking her if there was a problem since she felt distant. She said there was no problem and that was it. I gave in and snooped on her phone to discover she has been seeing a guy for the last 2 months. I was devastated. At the beginning of our relationship, I clearly told her lying and cheating in any form are the two unforgivable actions for me. Yet, she decided to cheat on me after 5 years of relationship, and we had been planning the wedding for the summer. I'm not proud of that, but I checked the old messages as well, but there were no case of cheating other than this. I have been thinking about it for the last few days. I tried to rationalize it and told myself I cannot be leaving a 6 years relationship because of a single mistake. But after having a long talk with my oldest sister, I realized that I should respect myself and leave. She was the one who betrayed a relationship, not me. We do not have any shared assets, and lease is on my fiancé's name. I have an inherited house, but it's in another city. Tomorrow I'm planning to just get important things from the house, block her from everywhere and just leave. I do not want a closure, to be honest. I just want to grieve the relationship. I thought maybe I did not love her given that I want to leave her right away, but it's not like that. It hurts a lot. I tend to stress eat, doom scroll, and spiral into depression in these kinds of situations. I have that experience from my early 20s. By going no contact and returning back to the city where my family lives will give me a circle that can support me. Would I be the a-hole if I straight up left and ghosted her without saying anything? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole, but if you can get screenshots of the chats as proof. So when people ask you, you can back it up. Yeah, print them out and leave them for her to find the day you leave. Block her number at all socials. Tell family and friends to do the same. Yeah, you need to let her know in some form that you know what you did. Otherwise, she might try and track you down, spam your family, etc. to have her say. Cheaters always like to try and change the narrative. Cut that off before she tries it. Don't even wait for them to ask. Hey, I know everyone may have noticed that I left suddenly. The lease was in my ex's name, and I found out she was cheating on me. For obvious reasons, we are no longer together and want nothing to do with her. I'll get my new address out to everyone ASAP. When you moved in, throw a ditch the beat party. Make a point of using money you'd save for the wedding. Cheaters count on their exes not telling anyone. It lets them keep cheating unless their ex face the social consequences of just vanishing for no reason. He ghosted me. Wow, he's so terrible. Flat out tell people you didn't do anything wrong. Snooping on a phone is generally a huge no-no, but when you're pretty darn sure that there is cheating going on or a gambling problem or something else major, then it's one of the few times I'll forgive. Not the a-hole, but if she doesn't know you've left her, she may report you as a missing person. I'd say once you've packed up and on your way out, send her a 2-line message. Say you've left her because you know she's been sexting people. That will hopefully prevent her from trying to force contact. Don't send screenshots of other people's conversations. Just don't. There could be legal implications. Not a lawyer. Just leave. Message her parents and her wedding guests through the online wedding guest portal or text them, "Hi, I just discovered evidence of fiancé in a relationship with another man. Wedding is off. Grateful I found out before the wedding. Best to you all. Any costs of the wedding Miss Cheater can handle." Some people will take her side, but you can't fix that. Now for the update. Firstly, I will not spread screenshots in social media or anywhere. That's illegal and a low blow, even if it does not contain sexual parts. It's a private thing, and I'm not planning to use these unless she plays dirty. One of my sisters came early in the morning to take me after my fiancé left for the work, and we packed some small things. As the lease is on her name, I do not have furniture and stuff. We packed clothes, accessories, and other small and personal things. Her car is an SUV type, so we were able to fit most of the required things thankfully. I could not take the ring though. I left the keys under the flower pot and put a sticky on the refrigerator saying, "I know, bye." Drive took about 7 hours and we safely arrived to the inherited house. On the ride, I received countless messages and calls from unknown numbers but did not answer. Once we arrived at home, eldest sister called me asking if we arrived. She told me fiancé called her crying around 3 p.m. and my sister told her not to contact me. We know everything. And if she tries to paint me bad in any way, we would not use only words, but do not back away from showing solid proofs to people. Fiancé requested to know where I am and speak to me. My sister said I'm fine, and she should not contact me in any form. When fiancé said we at least deserve a closure, my sister replied, "Too bad, suck it up." Not exactly that, but that's how I would translate that idiom, and ended the call. I still get calls and messages from unknown numbers. In the end, her father and mother called me. Surprisingly, my fiancé came clean to them, and while they hoped for me to give her a chance, they respected my decision. I thanked them and wished best of luck. Her father told me he will be sending the ring's money and asked me for my bank account. He actually sent it by adjusting to inflation, so I got a pretty decent money. The house is in an almost perfect condition as we renovated it before Mom passed away. It's just incredibly dusty and dirty after not being used since then. My 3 sisters will come this weekend and we'll clean it together. Eldest broke up with her partner recently, so she plans to live with me after her lease ends in a few months. She has been complaining about the rent prices for a while. My sisters are pretty much my only family, so I only informed them with some really close friends. I'm planning on going to therapy after settling here. It may sound weird how close I am with my sisters, but we grew up like that. We grew up with an abusive father, and as I was the only man and youngest one, all of the physical and emotional harm went towards me. We bonded with each other through trauma, and they tend to be a bit protective with me. I think that history is one of the reasons I just did not want to face my ex-fiancé. I thought I got over that considering nothing happened since we took family therapy, but it seems to be there. I'll get into therapy as soon as possible to understand everything and resolve the problems. I will post if there are any updates, but I just hope there will not be any. I just want to have peace and grieve right now. It sounds as if you are on the right path and have a good support system. Yay, sisters, for having your back. Good luck. Thank you. I did not know what I would do if my sisters weren't there. OP, I am so happy for you, and good for you for getting out. I read your original post. Your message to her was perfect. Short, sweet, and to the point. Thank you. I try to keep it as short as possible. Many people said it would be weird to disappear without a simple note, so that's what I did. You made a perfect choice in your note. She does not deserve a closure talk from you. It may help her, but definitely not you. You are the #1 priority. If she has made you that priority, she wouldn't be in this mess. She made her bed. Let her lie in it. Good luck, and stay strong, King. Closure is just the ex trying to manipulate OP. If she cared for his feelings, she wouldn't have cheated in the first place. My husband's side piece cried and wailed and stalked him at work, called on fake numbers, and used friends to reach him for closure. Her idea of closure is guilting him with, if you have anything else to say, you should say it, and I hope you're happy now messages. She doesn't. She hopes he's miserable without her, so he'll come running back to her. Good on OP for 1, not putting up with the cheating like I have, and 2, cutting her right off. She has nothing enlightening to say. Walk away and stay strong, OP. This was not an easy thing to go through. It's great that your family and her parents are supportive and understanding. She made a wrong choice and has to live with the consequences of her actions. Her parents are incredible people. I'm glad they did not push for anything further. Next story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend because she slept with another guy while making me wait? So my girlfriend and I have been together for about half a year, and I just started a new job. I met this male coworker and we became friends. So I invite him over at my place and he recognizes my girlfriend. We don't officially live together, but she spends a lot of time at my place. You can guess where this is going. After my coworker left, my girlfriend and I got to talking. Basically, she slept with him while dating me and made me wait. She said that our relationship was gonna be special and she wanted to wait, and that hook up with my coworker was just a one-night stand. I told her to leave because I knew I was gonna say things I couldn't take back. A few days later, after I calmed down and thought it through, I broke up with her. She kept repeating what she said about how she wants more with me, but I told her that I feel like I'm not attractive to her, or at least not as much as others. She kept saying that I was special. Basically, I said that I can't be that special if she preferred to sleep with a one-night stand than me. Edit, I don't think this counts as cheating. This happened within the first month of us dating. We became official after the first month or so. I 100% should have clarified with her if we were exclusive or not, so that's on me. Now for the top comments. Of course you're not the a-hole. Lol. OP, not the a-hole. She had a one-night stand with a guy while dating you. She has issues. If she legitimately thinks it's okay to sleep with someone and then tell the guy she's dating you're special, all that's gonna do is make the guy feel like shit. If you want to sleep around, do so. But don't make excuses to someone you're dating while you're sleeping with other people. Going to make anyone feel like crap. Hey, I really want something long-lasting with you, but this guy can bang me hard right now, okay? Not the a-hole. I can never get the logic that you're a special boyfriend material, so I will make you wait, but we'll be banging some other guy during the waiting time. Wouldn't it be the same if a guy sleeps with 2 to 3 girls and comes back home to his girlfriend telling you are a special one? She was cheating. If OP was special as she claims, she would have kept her legs closed for OP before there was exclusivity talks. If a difference between keeping your legs open and closed is a tag called exclusivity is BS. It's funny, isn't it? Guy sleeps with a girl and says she means nothing and he's horrible, rightly so. Girl does it and it's all good? Let me translate it for you. I thought you're the type of guy who would commit to me, so I made you wait, and without a promise of that commitment equals I am not attracted enough to you to sleep with you. But there are guys who I'm attracted enough to just want sex with even without commitment. Those I will sleep with without any wait. Last story. Am I the a-hole for avoiding a friend after she tried to set me up with a single mother? I, 31 male, have been single for several years now, a fact that a friend of mine, Lily, 34 female, was aware of. I've always been passionate about my current job. During my training years, I became familiar with Lily, who admired how much I wanted to join the field, and we have been friends ever since. A few months ago, she reached out to me inquiring if I was still single and mentioned she has become friends with Sarah, 29 female, who had moved from a different state about a year ago and is in the same field. She asked if I would want to go on a date with her during the weekend. I didn't think much of it and agreed to meet Sarah over the weekend. After having a conversation with her, I was impressed by her intelligence, charisma, and the care she had for her patients. However, as the conversation went on, I discovered she had a child, which is a deal breaker for me. But I was already in the conversation, and the statement about her daughter came as an off-topic rather than me specifically asking for it. So I tried to listen to her without showing any change in my expression and continued the evening. Although I knew the date was over, I tried my best to keep the mood light because I felt so guilty for wasting her time, not to mention how she might have had to arrange for a babysitter and then go home to take care of her daughter who probably was already missing her. In the days following, Sarah messaged me a few times, expressing how much she enjoyed our dinner and attempting to engage in further conversation. Initially, I responded with as much positivity and professionalism as I could, but eventually I had to clarify that, despite enjoying our conversation, I preferred to maintain a professional relationship. I even helped her during a staffing shortage by sending some of my best interns to assist her. Although I appear sociable and confident, much of it is the result of my training. I get easily flustered and awkward, and this whole situation with Sarah just made me feel so bad that it led me to start ghosting Lily. A few months later, I saw Lily again for a work thing where she confronted me about my avoidance, suspecting something went wrong on the date. I said it was just due to work and staffing shortages, a response she clearly didn't believe, but she didn't press further due to the professional setting we were in, and she suggested we meet after work to discuss it further. Reluctantly, I met Lily at a coffee shop where I initially dodged the issue. However, she realized I was just avoiding the issue, so she said she just wanted to understand what happened and doesn't care why. So I told her that Sarah had a child, and I would never date a single mother, something that Lily already was very likely aware of. She didn't show any change in her expression and just changed the topic to something else. However, I'm still a bit mad at her for making me look like a jerk to Sarah, who probably would have been friends with me and an amazing addition to my contact list professionally if not for this messed up date. You were not an a-hole for not wanting to date people with children, but there was no need to avoid her for so long. You could have just informed her of your preference, since she obviously didn't know. I think you made this a way bigger deal than it needed to be. Your technique to handle the situation reeks of emotional immaturity and conflict avoidance. But it doesn't make you the a-hole, really. I don't think anyone is the a-hole here. Lily was aware though, if not directly, she knew about it indirectly. She knew I wouldn't date someone with children. She has always known my stance for not wanting kids, and I have been very vocal about it. There can exist a situation where she imagined my want for not wanting children is limited to just my own and not others. But knowing her, she wouldn't make a mistake like that. That is different. Her knowing and intentionally setting you up was crappy to both you and the person she set you up with. That is what I fear. She's not the type of person who would put me in a bad situation knowingly, and she has always had my best interest in mind. Even when I talked to her before the date, she seemed cheery and happy about setting up the date. I have no idea why she did what she did. You could just say you weren't feeling it and that's it. No need to explain more to them. I should have done that in retrospect, but during the moment when she confronted me, I knew she was prying for details, and I just said what she wanted to know. Looking back now, I probably should have done this and just bottled up everything, and it would have been for the best. However, the genie is out of the bottle, and there's nothing I can do to take it back. But it's a good lesson to remember for future instances for sure. Yeah, you don't say this kind of thing. It should have been simply not feeling it or no chemistry or one of those. But getting set up with a work-related person is always a bit of a minefield. It's just tricky. On the other hand, Lily knew it was a deal breaker and set the date up anyway. Maybe this negative experience will teach her not to set people up who will never work out. The point of dating is to find someone compatible. You spend time with someone and see how it goes. You discovered that was the case with Sarah. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say you're an a-hole, but your response is ridiculously immature. I thought I was advising for teens Reddit. You could have told Sarah that you are not interested in pursuing a romantic relationship when there is a child involved. You may have become friends. At least you could have maintained a professional relationship. And the drama with Lily was completely avoidable.